Turning to breaking news, officials say the suspect who attacked an FBI field office in Cincinnati has been killed in a law enforcement operation. NBC News is reporting he was also identified as at the Capitol on January 6th. The wider context for this attack on an FBI field office is well known, while authorities stress they are still, of course, investigating the possible motives and objective of this individual. We begin with NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley. Ryan, what do authorities know about the incident?
So this was an individual with a nail gun. Based on his post on social media, he basically has tried to attack the office with a nail gun and then was later killed. It's not clear how long it took for him. He was apparently wounded at one point and then might have bled out. But what I've learned from other sources who are close to a lot of the online sleuthing community that has been working a lot of this January 6th case, these January 6th investigations, is that he was on the grounds of the Capitol on January 6th. There's no indication that he went inside the building, but we do know, based on his own public pronouncements and as well as from what sleuths have found, is that he was on the grounds of the Capitol that day.
Right, and that gives information, background on his profile, his activities. Again, authorities, journalists not yet able to directly draw a link. Indeed, as I think viewers know from following these often tragic breaking news incidents, it can take a long time for authorities to develop with confidence an individual's motive. The background, though, relevant, just as the week that this occurs is relevant. Indeed, at the highest levels of the FBI, we have heard these kind of concerns, not with regard to this incident. Again, folks can tell I'm being very precise about a breaking news incident, but in general, FBI Director Chris Wray speaking about these kind of threats just this week. Let's hear that.
And any threats made against law enforcement, including the men and women of the FBI, as with any law enforcement agency, are deplorable and dangerous. We have in this country had over the last few years an alarming rise in violence against law enforcement.
How does this week figure into what is clearly a time where much of law enforcement is on high alert, and the airwaves, particularly in the right wing community as well as online, are full of, as we reported on some of the dangerous rhetoric last night, some very inflammatory rhetoric and direct calls to action against crimes against law enforcement?
It's a lot. And, what's remarkable about it is that there hasn't been a lot of information that any of this is based off of, right? It's all not based off of, no one's seen the underlying warrant and whether it was based in something that should be investigated. They're all just sort of taking Trump's word on this and saying that it's, following his lead and sort of this is an unfair attack. The FBI is out to get him without actually looking at the underlying facts of this, because no one's been able to see that. We might be able to see that in the next few days, but there's already such an online surge of these threats and talks about civil war, as we reported along with Ben Collins earlier this week. It's a really threatening environment, and we saw this sort of play out for what it seems like. I mean, by every indication, this was someone who's very much in Trump's orbit. It was there January 6th. So I think it's something that it's sort of the worst case scenario, I think, for a lot of law enforcement folks who are worried about what the impact of Donald Trump's rhetoric will be. And as we saw play out on January 6th itself, it's sort of another indication of that.